Hey guys! We have talked about using the line tool, we've talked about using the shape tool, we've talked about using the image or picture tool. So today we're going to talk about the last tool on this little bar up here, which is the text tool. So when I click on this button that is a T inside of a square, and I bring my mouse, oh, it's not highlighted. And I bring my mouse down to my picture space, you can see that it turns my mouse into a little T shape. I can then click and drag it. Sorry, my cat is yelling in the back. To make a box, and inside of that box, I am able to type. So once I make that box, I can change the shape to be more square. That doesn't really matter right now. I'm just going to leave it like that. So when I click inside of the box, you can see that there's a black line that pops up over there, and that means that I can type inside of it. So I am going to just type in the word hello. So that's what I'm going to use as my text for today. You can use anything that you want. I am then going to show you how we can work on changing this. So if you look next to our tool buttons, you can see that there's a fill color option. This is going to change the inside color of the box. There's a border option that's going to change the outside line if you want to have that. We can change the weight, and we can change what that line looks like, right? So that would be a good time to change how big or how small your box is based on that. And that's kind of similar to just changing stuff in the shape tool. I'm going to get rid of that so you can really see all of the different things that the text tool on its own can do. So I'm going to actually click and highlight my word over here. And then you can see that in this box right here it says Arial, and then underneath it says font. So that's how I can change what this word actually looks like, what the font that I'm choosing to use is. So when I click on that arrow, you can see that I have a whole bunch of different options, and I can make it look like a permanent marker. I can make it look, I don't know, like it's in kind of a script. That choice is really up to you. If you are looking through this and you say, you know what, I don't really like any of these options, what you can do then is you can click on this button at the top that says More Fonts, and you're going to get a menu that then pops up on your screen, and you are going to have a lot more options. So you can look through these and see if there's anything that you like here. It's being very slow to load. You can also use these buttons to change what you're looking at. So Allscripts is going to show you any type of alphabet. If you happen to speak another language and you can write in another alphabet, not just like the English alphabet, then you are more than welcome to play around with any of those options. I would suggest if you don't actually know how to read or speak in that language that you kind of stay away from that just because it's easier. We can also change the type of font that it looks like. So there's a display one, and that's going to be kind of like bigger, bolder letters. There's one that's going to look like handwriting. So there's lots of different options, and you can kind of change it based on what you want. We can even look at popular fonts if you want. So you're going to pick a font that you like. I'm going to change it. I like Happy Monkey. So I'm going to make it that. And then this button next to the font button is going to allow me to change the size. So I'm going to make it big so that you can really see what I'm doing. So the bigger the number, the bigger that your font is. The biggest one that we can click on is 96, but if I type in here, you can see that I can type even bigger. So I made that 150. You can make it bold, which is going to make the letters thicker. You can make it italic, which is going to tilt them one way or another. You can underline it, and then you can also change the color of the text. So now it's red, now it's green, and then this button over here, the highlighter, is going to change the background. So not the background of the whole box, just the background behind the letters. I'm not going to talk about those. These are all different formatting options, which if you guys are familiar with using Word, you should be familiar with them. So this will put it in the center of the box. This will move it all the way to the left. This will move it to the right, and this will put it kind of evenly spaced. There's these. This will move it more towards the middle. This will move it towards the bottom. So the standard is kind of left and at the top. But if I want this to be very centered, I can click on that, and now it's in the center of that box. Line spacing is going to change how much space is in between your lines. We can add numbers, we can add dots or different types of bullets. And then when you click on this button, we're going to click on the format options. And you're going to see that we have a lot of really similar options to what showed up for the picture tool. So size and rotation is what we can change over here again. Position is also going to be just stuff that we can change in this box, so it's moving it around on our page. Text fitting will move where it is in your box. I would stay away from that for now. That's kind of complicated. But the more fun stuff, like we talked about yesterday, is the drop shadow and the reflection. So drop shadow is going to be the same as how it worked in the picture tool. If I want to add a shadow, let's make it red. Okay, I can change the transparency of that shadow, so I can make it more visible or less visible. I'm going to make it very visible. I can move the angle, so that's where it is. I'm going to move the distance so that it's further away so that it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. So I can move it all around there. You can see. So maybe I want it at the top like that. And I can move it further away or closer. And then I can blur it, so I can make it either like a really sharp box, or I can make it really fuzzy and faded out, kind of like that. I think I like it kind of over here. And I'm going to move it a little bit further away. Okay, so I like that. And then I can also add a reflection. So reflection we talked about yesterday also, which is going to be that mirror version of it. There's the transparency button, so that's how visible or not visible it is. So if it's all the way on the left side, it's really visible. How close or how far it is from our picture. So this is taking the whole square into account. So it's lined up right with the edge of this. So if I change the size of this box, you're going to see that the shadow kind of gets, or the reflection kind of gets a little bit closer. And if I change it even smaller. So that's why that looked like it was so far away, but really it was kind of close. So then I can move it further away. And I can also change how big or how little it is. So there's just a little bit of a reflection. You can't see very much. And then we can make it even more. Okay, so those are all of the options within the text tool. But there's one other way that we can add text into here that I want to go over really quickly because it's very similar to this. When you go up to the main menu options and you hit insert, instead of inserting a text box, we can insert word art. And it's going to ask you to type in your whatever it is you want to say. So I'm going to do hello again. Where'd it go? Okay, there it is. So you can see it shows up a little bit differently. And one thing that I like about this is that instead of having the whole box be this light blue color and having a black outline, it uses the fill and the border color for the individual letters. So I can change the inside of those letters to be whatever color I want. I'm going to delete this back hello so that you can better see what I'm doing. Oh, I just deleted the H, but I want to delete the whole box. There we go. Okay. So then I can make my border really thick. I can make it really thin. I can have it be dotted, dashed. All those options that we already talked about. And then you can also change the font. So if I want to make it back into the Happy Monkey font, I can make it bold. I can make it italic. So all of those options are still there. And you can see that we still also have the options for a drop shadow and for a reflection. So we can still play around with those. So I can add a drop shadow the same way that I did before. So there we go, I gotta move it a little bit. And I can change the color. I can make it more or less transparent. Okay, I like that. And then I can blur it out a little bit. And then I can also play around with the reflection. So those are two different ways that we can add text into it using either the text tool or the word art. Word art allows you to play around a little bit more with what the actual letters look like. So what do I want you to do now? I want you to play around with those tools. Let's try combining all four of these tools to make an image today. And then tomorrow, what I would like us to do is we are going to work on creating our very own personal logo using Google Drawing. So I'm super excited to see what you guys make. I hope that you guys are enjoying this as much as I am, and have fun making. Bye.